Imagine having to go. We have enough difficulties with the post office as it is. You had to go to a foreign post office in the colonies and buy the king's stamp. Question: how did the government know if you had the king's stamp on every piece of paper in your house? Answer: the Parliament enacted the Townshend Acts, which permitted British soldiers to write their own search warrants, and thus they would show up at your home and hand you a piece of paper on which they had purported to authorize themselves to enter your home, ostensibly to look for the stamps. Of course, they would confiscate alcohol, they would confiscate furniture which you couldn't demonstrate you had paid taxes on. They would even sometimes kick you out of the house and take it over for days or weeks or months. We fought a revolution. We won the revolution. We wrote a constitution. We added the Fourth Amendment to that constitution, which next to the right to life is the greatest right there is, the right to be left alone. And it says the government can't come onto your property and can't seize what you have and can't intrude into your privacy unless it goes to a judge and demonstrates to a neutral judge that it is more likely than not that you are committing crime. Fast forward 200 years to the Patriot Act. What does the Patriot Act do? It allows federal agents to write their own search warrants. We have elected a government that has done the very same thing to us, which was the last straw when we broke away from an island 3,000 miles away that was regulating us as if we were chattel and as if we were slaves to them. When Jefferson wrote in the Declaration of Independence the words that every school child knows, Alex, by heart, all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and that among these is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, he wedded the American soul to the idea of the natural law, that our rights come from nature, from our humanity, that we are created in the image and likeness of God, and as He is perfectly free, He has given us the gift of perfect freedom. In Philadelphia in 1787, when they argued all summer about how the government should look and what the Constitution should be, they began with an argument about what is the source of our rights. And Alexander Hamilton, the big government guy of the day, the guy who said debt was good, even in 1787, argued that without the government there can be no rights, and the same government that gives rights can take them away. Madison refuted him toe-to-toe, point-to-point, and said our rights come from our humanity. Madison won. Read the First Amendment. It doesn't say Congress shall grant freedom of speech. It says Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. Why do I emphasize the word the? Because the framers recognized that freedom of speech pre-existed the government, pre-existed the country, came by virtue of our birth. And the purpose of the First Amendment was to assure that Congress, and ultimately the president, and eventually the courts, and one day the states, could not interfere with the basic freedoms. The right to think as you wish, the right to say what you think, the right to publish what you say, the right to worship or not to worship, the right to come and go as you see fit, the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances, the right to defend yourself, Alex, by any technologically advanced means that are available at any given time, which includes the right to shoot at the government when it is taken over by tyrants. And then, of course, the right to be left alone in the Fourth Amendment. All of these rights are natural to us. And every person in the government takes an oath to uphold the Constitution, meaning upholding the inviolability of these rights. But in my years on the bench, and I write about this in the book, every time the government was in front of me, Alex, it wasn't to enforce the Constitution. It wasn't to protect someone's rights. It was to find some sneaky or ingenious way to get around the Constitution, but claim that they were enforcing it. Now, my new book, and I'm very happy to tell you that as of a few minutes ago, it's number 13 on the New York Times bestseller list. That doesn't mean the Times approves of the book. Hardly. It means that the most public counter of book sales is ranking me number 13, which is very good because then it gets published in that list. And a lot of folks that don't watch Fox or listen to Alex Jones or don't know me will be exposed to the book. The book posits the following. Why do we expect that the government will lie? Why do we know that the government lies and do nothing about it? Would Lyndon Johnson have beaten Barry Goldwater in '64 if we knew that he was secretly planning to invade North Vietnam as he accused Goldwater of doing? Would FDR have been elected in '44, reelected in '44, if the public had known that he caused Pearl Harbor because he needed an excuse to enter World War II? Would George W. Bush have been reelected in 2004 if people knew that there were no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and that he knew it and ought to have known it, that he was torturing people and lying about it, that he was listening to people's phone calls and capturing their computer strokes, all in violation of federal law? That's what the book challenges Americans, Alex, to be aware of, to recognize, to reject, and to correct. My dear friend, I've enjoyed all my time with you.
And in closing, why do we put up with the lying? Why have we gotten to a point where it's just accepted they lie, but then that 20% that supports the government health bill still believe they're getting something free, and the system is going for broke because they've passed the point of no return. They have committed so many crimes. They're so lawless. They've stolen so much. They know the country's going bankrupt. Bloomberg reports the feds are openly getting ready to take pension funds to fund their operations and to fund the banks. They have decided to go all the way, just like Hitler or Stalin or Mao, and it's time for the public to wake up. I mean, you mentioned the Stamp Act. Here is New Jersey CBS Television, CBS TV, WCBS. Cops in New Jersey town given keys to homes, and the cops are saying, we're putting keys on all your doors, and that we are now going to go into your house to make sure you're safe. And now they have zoning laws in Illinois and other places where people wake up and they do inspections without asking to see how many toothbrushes you have to make sure that you don't have more people in your house than you're zoned for. It is incredible. Judge Andrew Napolitano, I want to really thank you for joining us and spending time with us. Fire out your website.
Judge Knapp at foxnews.com. Alex, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for letting me share these airwaves with your wonderful listeners.
We appreciate you never compromising and being a true constitutionalist. God bless and Godspeed. We'll be right back. Stay with us.